Well, good morning, everybody. It's good to be here with you. We had a total of three services. We still got one that we got to do on Sunday. I used a little book that I have, and this is the color of it right here. I don't know if you're seeing it exactly the way or not, but it's the Sayings of Jesus. My brother bought me this book back in December of 2013, and I was in a major accident in January of 14, and I filled this book in with during the time of my stay in the nursing home. I was in the nursing home 40 days, and I filled this book in during the time that I was there. I've used this before where I would call out a verse, and it gives you a place of where you make your own comments, where you write down your own comments about the verse. We did one service on Wednesday, and I asked for a woman to give me a number, and she gave me the number 90, and on the page number 90 it says, this is a verse. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Well, I can only read this to keep it, quick for you. Today is 2014, and Jesus wants people to worship in spirit and in truth. Spirit is talking and walking and speaking the real gospel. The hour of earnesty is now. The Bible says it is high time to wake out of sleep. Religion shows us to sleep, thinking everything is okay and Jesus is Lord. What people need is to know the real Jesus. He alone will save anyone that wants him. People is thinking there's plenty of time, but time is counting down. Truly the Lord is waiting, but only the saved, bought by the blood, is the true worshipers. God is Father that is still waiting for a few more. Now, there was another page that a lady called out yesterday, a dear black lady that called out the number 22. And she helped me through that whole message, and I just, appreciate her love and support. This was written on February 2nd of that year, and this is a verse found in Matthew 18, 3 through 5. It says, and said, just as Jesus talking now, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as a little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. For whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. Well, here's what I wrote down. Converted comes when there is real change comes. Jesus used a child 5 to 7 years old that could understand his message. He used a child as one of humility, being a grown-up in the place of heaven. Whoever receives a child will automatically receive me, Jesus said. He tells to hear him verily. See, when you hear the word verily in the Bible, he's telling you to listen up. He told them, everyone, that all needed to be changed. Thank God my change come, forever being changed. And then we had a lady yesterday that in the second service, she called out the page number 10. This was written on January the 29th. This verse is in Matthew 6. This is where it's the Sermon on the Mount. He says, this is the verse, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where much where moth and rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Well, here's what I wrote in that. I spent years for me, my wishes, my desires. I came to realize that the only treasure is the souls of man, knowing the truth, so they can decide for themselves the value of God. My desire is to finish this race with something that has eternal value to Jesus. Empty hands is one thing. Knowing I will stand before God with them is the biggest fear. Thank God for new desire. Souls. I let these people have these 3 pages that I've done so far. And there's just something about, I didn't know what page they was going to call out. I haven't read this book in its entirety in a long time. But it's one of the most valuable writings that I believe I have ever written, due to the fact of my problem that I was in my surgery and in my accident that I had. And I'm thankful so much for this book. And it's like I told them the other day, I could do the same message in the same place in different places and it all come out differently. But 3 people called out 3 numbers, and Sunday they will call out another number, Lord willing. And I like doing messages that are sort of off the cuff. I just really believe the Lord uses a message like that, and it involves the people as well. Can any of these verses line up to you? Does any of these verses are important to you? He told us that we need to be converted and that we don't need to lay up our treasure on earth, but we need to lay up our treasure in heaven. And then this one right here tells us right here on page 10, the very thing that we just talked about. The Bible's full of answers. You just have to take your eyes and get into the answers. I hope this may help someone today. Thank y'all for listening.